Alright, guess what, guys? It's finally post-spawn in most places across the country. What normally happens post-spawn is the shad spawn starts happening. Around that shad spawn, I have several baits that I really like to throw. One is top water. I've got a Sammy 108 tied on. I've also got a Gunfish 95 tied on. So the Sammy is better for in the mornings when it's a little bit choppier or overcast. The 95 Gunfish is better when it's really slick, calm, and it's just a little bit harder to get a bite. So in the mornings, the shad spawn's gonna be a big deal with top water. Then after that, when those shad are kind of died down a little bit, I'm gonna force it longer with a jerkbait. One of my favorite jerkbaits is the Slender 112 for post spawn. I really like that slender pointer for any kind of post spawn fishing. Then I've got two crankbaits tied on. They're brand new, the 1.0s. I've got the 1.0 square bill and I've got the 1.0 DD. So I can delay that shad spawn throughout the day by going subsurface with jerkbait or the crankbait. So let's give it a shot today and see what happens. Shad spawn's been happening in the mornings. Once that shad spawn goes down, I'm chasing the wind and throwing that 1.0 and the 1.0 DD. Big fat spotted bass. Look at that thing. It's a 2-pound spotted bass. Caught that on that 1.0 square bill. And he absolutely smoked it. Shad spawn with a Slender 112 Ghost Minnow. The reason why I went with a Ghost Minnow is it's a pretty clear lake and I wanted something that was fairly transparent, so I'm going with a Ghost Minnow. But just, you know, post spawn fishing, Slender 112. So I've been cranking, I've been throwing top water, now throwing a jerkbait. Another nice one right there. Another one, Slender Pointer. Tell you what, that Slender Pointer is my all-time favorite post-spawn jerkbait. There's something about that Slender, that post-spawn season is that they absolutely love that. So we're gonna keep rolling with that Slender 112. Hopefully catch a few more bass like that. Post-spawn fishing right there. Not a big one, but I got a little school of them fired up here. That wind is blowing in perfect on a little point here. I'm fishing kind of flatter points. A lot of times those shad like to spawn on flat points. A nice little flat point here. I'm sitting in about 15 foot of water and I'm throwing that Slender Pointer up there. The other thing I'll do is I'll throw that 1.0 DD and see if I can get them cranking too. Slender Pointer even catches crappie. slender pointer. Post spawn is the ticket. They love that thing post spawn. So another one. There. Sammy 108 post spawn. So the trick is just running water where I think the shad are spawning, but I can delay it a little bit, you know, meaning that the shad spawn first thing in the morning, but then the rest of the day I can still throw that Sammy 108, you know, catch nice 2-pound spots like that. I can throw a slender pointer 112, a 1.0 and a 1.0 DD. So that right there is a Sammy 108. Nice one. DD. You know, I like that 1.0 during a shad spawn time of year, you know, post spawn, because it's a smaller crankbait. I like a little bit smaller crankbait when the fish are on a shad spawn like that. Also, when they're post spawn, sometimes to me they like a smaller bait. That's why I like this 1.0. The other reason why I like that 1.0, it casts really well. It casts just as good as the 1.5 to me. It's just a little bit smaller. 1.0 DD post spawn. You know, later in the day after the shad spawn, but there's a lot of shad up. The fish are, you know, basically eating up after the spawn, and that little 1.0 DD is just a perfect size for them. Slender 112. A lot of times these fish spawn on the dock, so threw that slender 112 up in the dock and caught one. That's kind of standard issue for post spawn right there. Well, I just finished up my day here working on some post spawn fishing, trying out some of the new baits that we have and old baits. Two separate things, one top water and then subsurface. But not only just subsurface, we got crankbaits plus the jerkbait, and there's my top water. But Sammy 108, post spawn in the morning times is a really good time to throw a top water, especially if there's a shad spawn going on. If there's a shad spawn going on, you can really catch them on that 108. Then after that, a lot of times those shad spawn will kind of die off. They'll get down a little bit deeper, and when that happens, I can go with a slender pointer 112. Now, the reason I like that slender pointer 112 is, for me, it's always been a very good post spawn jerkbait. Then the other two baits were the new 1.0 crankbaits from Lucky Craft. There's the 1.0 square bill. So anytime I was in less than 6 feet of water, I threw that. And then there's the 1.0 DD. So anytime I was in 10 foot or less, that's when I throw that. Now, I really like a smaller profile crankbait on that, you know, those post spawn scenarios, because I feel like those fish are pressured. They've come off from spawning. I just think they like a smaller bait. That's why I went with that 1.0. So a lot of fun today. Top water, jerkbait, crankbait, caught a ton of fish, had an absolute blast, all post spawn. It's a really good time of year to go out and throw reaction baits and catch a lot of fish. at that. That's a big old spotted bass. Slender pointer right down the gullet. Look at that big one right there. That's a giant spotted bass. Got that slender pointer right down the gullet. Look at that. Oh, man. Probably closer to a 3-pounder. You know, high too. Look at that. Slender pointer. Pretty cool, huh? Post spawn. Fun way to catch them right there. Slender pointer 112, big spotted bass. Look at that. Post spawn, I'm out kind of on a point right now. It's after like a little bit of a shad spawn in the morning. I got out a little bit deeper water. I'm sitting in about 10-12 foot of water. Got some nice spotted bass, slender, 112. Look at that thing, he choked that 1.0. Oh my goodness. Look at that thing, he absolutely choked that 1.0. You know, along that post spawn and shad spawn, I like to throw a little bit smaller bait. That's why I threw this 1.0. And I mean, look at that. He's got it so far down his throat. Nice one right there on that 1.0 shad color post spawn. Look at that, nice one. Look how big that is. Oh my goodness, that's a giant, giant spotted bass. Slender pointer, 112 post spawn. Look at that thing. That's like a 3.5, 4 pounder. Whoa, look at that. Oh boy, that's a big one.